Welcome to the Professor's Parlor, a think tank media podcast. Hosted by Dr. Burkita S. Bradford and Dr. Cherie Tennessee, this is a space for real conversations about professional growth, career pathways, and what's next for hospitality and tourism. From entrepreneurship to industry leadership and the lived experiences of students on HBCU campuses, each episode blends academic insight with real-world perspective. Pull up a chair. Let's get into it.
Hello and welcome to the Professor's Parlor. And so I am Burkita Bradford and I have my co-host, Dr. Cherie Tennessee. And we are so glad that you decided to join us tonight. We are a pretty laid back show. We do have a few questions that we're going to ask you, but in general, it's like having a conversation as if you were in our living room, which is why we named the podcast what we named it. And so what I am going to do, I'm going to pivot. So tonight we have our guests. We have a husband and wife team, Chef and Chef Kimberly and Chef Henry. And I am going to let you introduce yourself. And then Cherie will say something and then we'll get started. We will be in the show for about 30 minutes. And so let's do it.
Ladies first. Hey guys, how are you? My name is Chef Kimberly VanKline-Dudley. I've been a chef for about professionally 15 years. I started out in corporate America. I was with Verizon for 17 of those years. Always had a passion for cooking and creating and bringing people together. And then I just pretty much took a leap of faith with the culinary school, and the rest is history.
Chef Henry Dudley, alumnus, Virginia State University. After that, I went to the New York Restaurant School, and this is year 30 for me as being a professional chef. So, I've been around for a little while. So, a little bit of everything: restaurants, hotels, casinos, cruise ships. I'm currently working in the healthcare sector. So,
okay, all right, okay, all right, Cherie.
Hi, everyone. I am the co-host with Dr. Bradford. My name is Dr. Cherie Tennessee. I am the online coordinator, satellite liaison, and assistant professor at the Virginia State University. And we are so excited. I am not an alumnus. I behold the green and gold all day long. It's behind me.
Okay.
But I love hospitality. I love sharing information with students to get them prepared. So I'm super excited about this conversation.
Dope.
Rakita, you want to kick off the first question?
Yes, I do. So as I said, this is as if you were visiting us in our living room. So we do use first names on here. Everybody is over 5. So we do use first names on this show. So we're going to come out swinging because we have a limited amount of time. And so our first question is, and I blame Chef Kimberly for that because I follow her on social media and I've been seeing some stuff she's saying. So I blame you for this. So it is, how do professional culinary training programs, or what do they need to do to adapt to the rise of what I am calling social media chefs who often gain popularity through personality and presentation rather than traditional techniques and training? So that's my first question to both of you.
Okay, so repeat the question one more time so I'm clear.
So I'm gonna say it in layman's terms. Basically, what do you think the two of you think culinary schools need to do to address the rise of social media chefs, people who have not been professional trained but have these followers on social media and these beautiful presentations, but we don't really know if they can cook, to be totally honest. So
good question. So what I found, I don't know if when I went to culinary school, me and Henry actually went to the same school, but he went 30 years ago and I went 15 years ago. So they changed the names of the school. So it was New York Restaurant School and mine was the Art Institute.
Okay.
I realized that there's no real culinary programs or schools right now. You know, it's a lot of like vocational schools, online training, and I don't understand how you can teach a culinary class and all the techniques and things that come with that online and not being in person. And so I think what has happened is that everybody just loves to cook, they're foodies. And when social media came out, it just took a life of its own. And I don't know if the schools can do anything. I think that these are millennials that just love to cook. It's all about the following, all about the likes, not about the technique and the love of cooking or the passion that's there. It's about how many people follow them and how pretty they can make food combinations and things of that. But what they're missing is the art of cooking, why they're cooking, and the business side of it.
I think that the model for culinary programs now needs to be hybrid. From the standpoint of social media is here, it's not going anywhere. So, you know what I mean, as older, more seasoned chefs, we tend to sometimes question work ethic and stuff like that or whatever versus likes. And the younger chef now has a different type of, how can I put it, validation than what we had. Like when we would come into chefs to be like, yo,
we gotta snap them, Cherie. They came out swinging too.
Yeah, we wanted other chefs to be like, yo, Chef Henry is dope.
He's
like
good,
he killed
right.
that last night.
Right.
He rocked that service. Whereas now the chefs want other chefs on Instagram to be like, yo, they did this, they did that, or the followers and so forth and so on. So there's a different type of validation. So I think the new programs need to be hybrid. There needs to be a focus on that social media element and that media element, as opposed, but also with the hands-on. The hands-on is still there. You have to learn how to cook. You have to touch the food. You have to do all that. When we went through COVID, I felt like everybody just put chef on the front of their name and opened up an Instagram account and said, I'm Chef X, this, I'm Chef that, and so forth and so on. And their grandmother said, their friends said, yo, your grandmother's fried chicken recipe was great. And then they opened up a business and so forth and so on. So I don't think that these chefs, whether they're talented or not, I think there were some great home chefs that were talented, but they didn't have the, the discipline to do it. You understand what I'm saying? So I think if it was up to me and I was making the program, it would be a hybrid program where you would come in and you would do hands-on, but we would also, embrace that social media and that.
You would embrace the social media, but I think you would also use it as a marketing tool when you got out of culinary school. Right. That's how you market yourself. That's not how you sell yourself to a client. Then again, who is your client? Right. Like, who are you gonna, market to?
Culinary school didn't teach me how to market myself
at all.
Because but also I was trying to get a job at that time. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So it wasn't about.
It was different. It was different.
Right.
Yeah. You make some great points, and I really like the idea of the hybrid because when you say you have to touch the food, and I also like when you point out, it's like what you were looking for, and validation is very different than this generation. I teach event planning, and I often tell students, if you plan your friend's wedding or your cousin's wedding, and you have a $500 budget, you're not an event planner.
Right.
And everybody thinks they can be an event planner. And Chef Kimberly mentioned the business side. And I was recently talking to a family friend, close family friend. She's like family because her brother's married to my cousin. And she's doing this event planning. And I asked her, I said, do you have insurance? And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, like you're doing these events, you're buying equipment. What if someone gets sick or something? And she had no clue. And I was like, this is a perfect example of people thinking, to me in general, they can hijack the hospitality industry. And it happened to events.
Hijack.
Yeah. It happened to events. And now, I think it was Chef Henry said, everybody put chef in front of their name for during COVID. And I'm just amazed. I was watching this guy yesterday and he pulled out a bag from HEB, the grocery store in Houston. I'm not sure if it's all over Texas. And he put it in a pot and was like, I'm cooking. I'm like, dude, no, you're not. You're warming food. You're warming food. So I think that, you make some great points in that we have to pivot, but at the end of the day, can you cook is what people you want. Like, I'm not paying for, I don't care how good it looks. Can you cook? Especially from someone who does not cook. I need your food to be good because I'm not an option. So, so,
It can look
so
good, but how does it taste?
Right.
exactly, exactly.
Generationally, they're into how it looks and because of the social media element, right? How it looks and how many followers it gets and how many comments it gets and so forth and so on. And when she was on Beat Bobby Flay and she was like, if the food don't taste good, it don't mean nothing. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I think that generationally we've lost that because people are more into, looking at the video of the chicken or the crab cake and somebody pouring the sauce over it.
It's more clickbait.
Yeah,
It's all clickbait.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
I hire a lot of chefs and cooks that come out of culinary school and programs and stuff like that. And foundationally, they can't cook.
Wow. That's,
You
and that's sad. We were hiring a chef for an event, and I was like, okay, let's see.
Mhm.
And basically the individual was warming food, and I was like, I'm not paying to warm food. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that there's no value, but it was pretty much like Costco, being passed off. And I was like, and I always tell people I don't really cook. I can cook if I need to, but I know good
But
food
you know
because
good food, right?
I know good food, and I know when it's not homemade, and I know I know all of that. And so it's like an insult to the industry. But I want to go to the second question because, as always,
because I didn't get to say anything.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. One, I did work at Johnson and Wales, and I will tell you the challenge, and they actually closed that campus because, as you know, Johnson and Wales was known for their culinary program, but they were there wasn't the same interest in the chef side. There was a lot more interest in the hospitality. So they even created a bridge where you would go do the 2 years, get your associates in culinary, and then come over to hospitality and get your 2 years. So I think some of it is a lot of programs did shift online. They wanted to address it, keep their doors open. So you do have a lot of culinary classes that are taught remote. And like we're dealing with that at Virginia State right now as we try to modify these culinary classes. How do you do it in an online setting and ensure that they have the skill set? So, that's a conversation we're having with the department chair and the chefs. Because we have an online program, we have to offer the classes, but how do you ensure, as this conversation has been going on, that the food that they are producing is edible and enjoyable and not just pretty? Now, I've always believed, Brakita, that you buy with your eyes first, and especially with food, because if it looks nasty, for me, who has food autism, if it looks crazy, I don't care how good it tastes, it's not going in my mouth. I need it to look good.
Don't call food nasty.
I need it to look good and taste good. So it is this really interesting dichotomy with social media in that it looks good, but who's eating it other than maybe the person in the dog, or is it going in the trash can? So I think it's really interesting, and it'll be interesting to see as a lot of programs do move online. How do you ensure those skill sets if they're not coming on campus to be able to have the chef stand beside them? So it'll be very interesting. Bertita, your question next.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know when they first were doing online with culinary courses, the idea was that the student would potentially do that class or those classes at a community college and transfer those credits in, or maybe, as Chef Henry mentioned, a hybrid. But I think also you may have to require something, X number of years in the kitchen cooking at a job or something before you accept them into those programs. So
I want to defer to Kim to answer, because I have a lot to say about it, but I know that she's passionate about this question. So I'm going to defer to Kim, and then I got to say.
So, Bakita, what's the question again?
The one that Cherie was posing is, how do you address online degree programs within the culinary space? Because you don't taste the food as an instructor. You don't taste it, you just see it.
Right. To me, honestly, it's hard. Like, I think what Henry said, it has to be a hybrid. You have to have some type of foundation or a platform where you're bringing them into a commercial kitchen, a ghost kitchen, or even like you said, part of their training would have to be doing an externship at a restaurant. That's what I had to do. You know, like even though I was in culinary school, getting my behind beat every day after work, like it was not easy. I was doing a full-time job at the phone company, rushing to the train, getting my class on time, getting my chef white, and we was cooking. We was cooking. Wasn't no sitting down, taking notes. We were cooking, slinging pots, preparing, cutting, dicing, frying, sauteing. So it's just like, I don't understand like how these chefs are like, I'm a chef now, and they have no proper training, no culinary background whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's what they see on social media. So it needs to be somewhere where they go into a kitchen, and as part of the program, you have to go find a job, even if it's for free. You know what I'm saying? You do a charge, you sit there, you work for free, you get your, you know, whatever class that you have to pass. You do the saute, you wash dishes. Henry said it as a dishwasher. And these kids kill me right now. They're like, I'm not washing no dishes. Then how you gonna be a chef? Like you like you have to work every part of the kitchen.
The dishwasher
is the most important part.
Person in the kitchen.
Yeah. I know. I grew up in a house. My mother's rule: if the kitchen not clean, I'm not cooking.
Right.
That's right.
And that meant sweeping and mopping too. That wasn't just washing dishes and
counters, floors.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So okay,
just to kind of quickly piggyback off of what Kim was saying, it's kind of like the other part of it is kind of like chefs today, like because we have so many different like layers, right? You have the social media layer, you have the pop-up layer, you have the, you know, all different type of layers of chef work. Like the real question is, if you're trying to be a chef, like what type of chef are you trying to be, and what are you really trying to do? You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
I came up during a time where like the things that we did as chefs and the training that we had and the skill set that we have or whatever, it wasn't something that everybody had access to, right? Nobody could go on YouTube and learn the 5 mother sauces or learn all the different like knife skills and so forth and so on. And I think that now we're in a space where they can just go to YouTube or go here, go there, and they can get a quick like, you know, it's almost like the Matrix when like they put the thing in his neck and then he could do all different type of things. Yeah. It's kind of like that right now, right? But when they come into a professional kitchen, they can't swing.
They can't hang. Yeah, I call it Professor YouTube and Dr. Google.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the question is, you know what I mean? If you want to be a chef and you want to be a professional chef, there's a difference between the chef now and a professional chef.
Yes.
The chef is the guy on YouTube saying, I'm a chef and I cook fried chicken and I sell plates at my house or I do pop-ups or whatever. Then there's a professional chef who's like, I'm working in a restaurant. I'm going to start my own catering company. I'm going to work in, you know, a hotel, casino, whatever, and have that. And what they want to do and be able to have that tutelage and go to those schools or whatever. I went to CIA last year for a job fair, and like none of the kids wanted jobs. They wanted externships, they wanted this, they wanted that, but they didn't want a job.
Mm-hmm.
They you know what I mean? They wanted us to look at their Instagram and so forth and so on. So it's hard because at the end of the day, there's a lot of, I'm just gonna say what it is. There's a lot of bad food out there.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of bad food out there, and people are putting off a lot of bad food and just saying like, I'm a chef for this. So I think that it's kind of it's got diluted with like, you know, mediocre skill sets and so forth and so on, and not people who really want to take the craft seriously and so forth and so on. So, you know, it's almost like a dying breed, but we're still here trying to hold the mantle because, you know, I wake up every day now and I feed, you know, 1,500 cancer patients a day and 2,500, you know, nurses and doctors and so forth and so on, and work with clinical dietitians and things like that. So that was a natural progression for me out of restaurants and hotels and so forth and so on. But like, you know, I try to hire people and they just don't have the same like wherewithal. It's kind of like, I want to be popping. I want 2 million followers. And then, you know, next year, they're doing something else. So I feel like a lot of the culinary stuff these days is like a money grab as opposed to like a real skill set and wanting to do it and wanting to be serious about it.
I want
So
to just in there. Just give me one
go
second.
ahead.
So
Go ahead.
I had a call this morning, well, via text message. So one of these guys, he's a chef. I don't know him personally. He's a young kid. So he inboxed me, hey, chef, I've been following your work. I'm a fan, whatever, it's in the third. And I said, well, where do you work at? He said, I'm not working right now. I said, so what are you doing? I'm looking for work, but I want to go into fine dining. I said, you have any culinary background? Have you gone to culinary school? He said, no, I have not. I just started kitchens. I said, okay. I said, well, you know what? Are you looking for work now? He said, yeah, but it has to be fine dining. I said, but do you know fine dining? Have you worked in a fine dining
Because
restaurant?
that's a whole different ballgame.
I said, that's a whole different animal. Right.
All different.
So it was like, I said, well, send me what you have. Like, send me your resume, whatever. He sent me his resume. And I'm not even BSing you. It said 2024 to 2025. And it lists like 5 restaurants that he worked for, jobs. And these are all probably just stargings that he done. He hasn't worked at no restaurant for no year, 2 years or anything. I said, so how long were you at how long were you at each place? Oh, I kind of, popped around a lot. I was in DC. I was here for 2 weeks, there for 3 weeks. I said, so you're going to have to get a job.
To be taken seriously.
You're going to have to get a job someplace. It's not going to be fine dining. It's going to be in the kitchen where you're going to have to learn the kitchen. Like, you don't even know how a kitchen operates. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just want to cook and it looks, sexy online. And then he said, well, I want to get my first Michelin star. You want to get a Michelin? Do you know
what it takes to get a Michelin star?
Dedication that you have to have?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like they just see everything on social
He's
media.
not even line cook one, and he's like,
you're not even line cook.
You didn't wash a dish yet.
You ain't wash a dish yet. Nothing. I said my advice to you would, get a job in the kitchen, any kitchen, and just learn from the ground up
and stay there.
After that, if you want to learn how to actually become a Michelin star chef, go around, be a backpacker, pack up your knives, and travel around the world
and work for Michelin star
chefs.
Yeah. That's the thing.
If you're not willing to do that, you're never going to achieve what you're trying to achieve.
No. So I want to ask you, and this isn't the question I had, but I thought about it. So I blame Jennifer Lopez and that movie, The Wedding Planner, for for destroying the event planning industry. I blame her. Do you think that even before social media, the whole Food Network, I mean, I know in some ways it boosted the industry. Do you think that had something to do or has something to do with everyone? Because I mean, everything is about cooking now. Like I was looking, like they have all these movies on Tubi, on like Hallmark, like all of these movies. Everyone is a chef or doing wine or a pastry chef. Do you blame or do you think that contributes to it in addition to social media?
Great question.
And when I say to it, the delusion that everybody can do it, the delusion that everybody
be a
can
Michelin star chef.
I'm gonna start, and I know Kim has an opinion, but I'm gonna say yes. I think that we came through what we call it the Food Network era.
Yeah.
Where I kind of fashion it too, but Keita, Dr. B, you may understand this. I don't know, Dr. Tennessee, you would understand this from a generational standpoint.
Then I look.
But in the 90s, right? When hip hop was popping, like every dude was like, "Yo, I'm in the studio."
That's true. That's
you know what I'm saying?
That's
hey,
true.
What you doing tonight? Babe, I gotta go to the studio. Like every dude was a rapper. He had to go to the studio. He had to do this. He had to do that. It was a money grab, right? Everybody felt like they could do it. You understand what I'm saying? And then that's why hip hop wound up the way it was, right? Because everybody couldn't do it, and it was such a money
absolutely
grab.
not.
Everybody just figured like, "Yo, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna sell mad records, and I'm gonna get on." And that's not what it was. That's the same thing that happened in the chef game.
Okay, that's a great analogy.
That's a great analogy.
Everybody
saw CSI though too. When everyone remember when CSI had like 7 different shows.
Right.
I'm a biologist undergrad. Everybody wanted to do forensic science until you realize that show was crap. And
Right.
nothing that they did was, I think I watched one episode, they threw a whole liver in the blender. I said, that would never happen. I can't watch this.
And you don't have those perfect scenarios in crime. All right, Chef Kimberly, because we're running out of time. I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah,
I told
right?
Cherie.
That's
I
quick.
told Cherie. All right, Chef Kimberly, come on. What are your
So
thoughts?
piggyback off of what Henry said, I feel like Food Network definitely made everybody think that they could cook because they made it look easy. My issue is that everybody wants the end result. They don't want to do the work to get to the end result.
That's true. That's
There's a
true.
whole lot of steps before you get to put that food on the plate in front of somebody.
Mhm.
And they take the whole part about how it gets to the plate and just want to put it on the plate.
Right.
And that's not realistic. You know,
Mhm.
and that's why these chefs don't go nowhere. The thing that kills me, oh, I'm a celebrity chef. So I asked her, what makes you a celebrity chef? Who have you cooked for that's a celebrity? Oh, well, I haven't, but I'm a celebrity.
But I'm the
chef.
celebrity.
They're the celebrity.
We don't even know you.
On what grounds?
When we
Yeah,
came to a celebrity chef cooked was a chef who cooked for a
For
celebrity.
celebrities.
That's in my mind what it is. And even as a person who majored in at old school name hotel restaurant management, it wasn't called hospitality. My mother's background was home economics education, so everything was homemade in our house. And I remember I fell a pie crust, and so I was telling her, and she was like, "It's like I shamed the family," and so. She was like working with me, like, you have to learn how to make this pie crust. So I did the pie crust over. And then my mom was like, well, how did you do? I said, oh, I did good. I made a B. And she was like, no, Berkita, it's horrible. You should get an A on a pie crust. And she was like, it's easy. It's like making biscuits. And I was like, oh, that makes sense because I failed the biscuits. But I knew immediately, like, this is not my lane. Like I was okay with that, like this is not my lane because, but even working on a management degree, there were some culinary courses that we had to do. And, you had to know the basics. And I wasn't even pursuing a degree in culinary arts. So I think it's unfortunate. But I'm going to go to my second question. I had 3. We won't get to the third one because Cherie has like the final question. So, and I know Chef Kimberly does this because, as I mentioned, I follow her on social media. In what ways can I'm going to say real chefs leverage social media to enhance your brand or to connect with the audience? And so I would like to hear from both of you. What are your thoughts as we like old school, new school type situation here. So what are your thoughts? How can you leverage, or how do you leverage social media to connect with your audience or clients?
I think you have to have a niche, like the chef spectrum is so broad. Like you said, you could be a pastry chef, you can be a caterer, you can be a chef that curates nice dinner parties. I'm on the private chef side, so I like the whole, interaction with the client, and them sitting down, getting an experience. So I pride myself on giving experiences versus just, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna bring some food, I'm gonna drop some food off to you. No, I like the whole experience. So I kind of shy away from people that want me to drop off pans of food because that's gonna dumb down my brand. Like I like to be a little bit on the elevated side. So I like to create, okay, here's my menu. We can kind of discuss it, see what you like, what you don't like, come down to an agreed menu. And then I'm gonna bring out all the whistles. I'm gonna do the table scape, glassware, dinnerware, make it sexy, pretty, and stuff like that, make it elevated. So you feel like you're in a fine dining restaurant in the comfort of your own home. So I think once you find what your niche is, then you kind of just market your niche and you stick to that. And then
you do some fabulous videos. You that's like a whole nother gift that I think you have. Yeah, because and my sister asked me, she's like, why are you always watching food? I was like, I don't know. I just like to. But anyway, you do some fabulous videos.
Cook. Well, I do cook because I got a kid in the house, but he graduates in 2 years, and my oven is going to be a coat and a shoe and a purse rack.
I order. All right, Chef Henry, what you got?
We operate in 2 different chef spaces, and for me, I'm not as much of a everyday social media person in terms of whatever. I'm very intentional So when I post something about food or something I'm doing, like it's very intentional. It's not like I'm not in my space
Getting
advertising or trying to promote, a service or anything like that. Like Kim is. It's more of my posts are more like educational, and things like that, and so forth. Or if I'm doing something a big, project or something like that, or so forth and so on. So I would say with that, like for me, it's like do what you do best, show what you do best.
I like that.
Don't try to do something. I don't do anything that I'm not good at doing on social media.
Let me just intertwine it. Henry is the Jay-Z of cooking.
Okay.
He's
So
the
my
Jay-Z
question is going to be
culinary.
so relevant.
Yeah. So go ahead.
He will only put something out when it's big.
Right.
He don't put frivolous stuff up, or in my kitchen this happened today. It gotta be something huge. So he's gonna come out with the album.
I'm coming out with that. She's right.
I
Like
like this because I think it speaks to the diversity in the space of culinary art. Because as you
Absolutely.
mentioned, you have so many different. I mean, we could probably do a whole, series on different types of food and all of that. And I think that also speaks to the respect for the industry, and
Right.
know what your gift is and what you like and all of that while supporting each other. So
Right.
we could go on. And I told Cherie, I say, Cherie, this is going to be, and it may be Cherie and I, we the common
We
denominator.
might need to do a part 2
Yeah,
to
to
this.
do a-
Yes, we need to do a part
need
two.
to bring back too. So yeah, we'll add to
And
the
it's so
list.
funny because you're our third husband and wife team. You're literally our third husband and wife team. And it didn't start out like that, but
Right.
we're
Right.
just celebrating the space. And I really like that. But you're our third husband and wife team. And so Cherie is going to come with the final question, but I do appreciate you for doing this. And
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm in the background cheering y'all on whichever way you go. And so I do appreciate you for appearing on our show. And Cherie will ask the last question, and then we'll
Dr.
have
B,
to hang.
I appreciate you. You never have to ask twice.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Cherie,
Absolutely.
it's tag. You're it.
Thank you.
Come on, Dr. Tennessee.
So we've been talking about music a lot. Must be just the Northeast thing. So you're walking on to the biggest stage of your life. What is your walk-on song?
Me?
Both of you.
My walk-on song? Ooh.
Right?
If I had to pick one right now, and I probably got a bunch of them.
Yeah, and I have categories. I have like gospel. I have different
Um,
categories. So
Wow. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
My name
Ho.
is Ho.
That'll be my joint.
okay,
Right now?
okay, all right. I like that.
Who runs the world? Girls.
I like that.
Girls run the world, because we are. Culinary is a man's world. Like
It is.
Well, no.
It is.
It's a very male-dominated industry. Women are in it, but we're not held to the same level when I came up as the males were.
Mhm.
Changing now is it's getting some traction now, but I've always had to prove myself more than the men in the kitchen.
Mhm.
So that's why I say girls run the world.
Yeah, that's true. It is definitely a male-dominated
industry.
area, and it definitely is.
I had a
It
different
definitely
experience.
is. So I agree. All right. So Cherie, what would your walk-on song be?
Oh, you know what it is. It's Tennessee Arrested Development. That literally is my walk-on
That's
song. Whenever I
the intervention.
He is playing in the background. That and every day I'm hustling Rick Ross.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I have
one song.
yeah, mine, it depends what mood. So I would say today it's probably almost doesn't count, because y'all know I can't stand a slacker. Oh my God, I cannot stand a slacker. So
That's what's up.
yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So, but thank you so much. This has been good.
Thanks for spending time with us on the Professor's Parlor. This podcast is part of Hospitality Nexus, a global, human-first platform bringing the hospitality ecosystem together in one place. Inside the Nexus, it's a career fair that never closes, connecting industry leaders, educators, students, employers, and partners through real presence. Watch every episode of The Professor's Parlor inside Hospitality Nexus at hospitalitynexus.org. Stay curious, keep the dialogue going, and always lead with the spirit of hospitality.